Hi guys, Sarah Akstin here. Listen, I'm wanted to go live today with my top 5 tips for eating out in a healthy way at a restaurant. In other words, making healthy choices when you go out to eat. Because as much as you can prep food at home, it isn't always possible when you're out with your family or out with friends to get yourself back home to do your eating. And a lot of times you find yourself at a restaurant, or maybe you made plans and you wanted to go out and you're at a restaurant. So really, you think to yourself, how am I going to stay with my healthy options that I've been working on to keep myself on track with, if you're following a certain meal plan or whatever. So I do have 5 tips. If you think this information would be helpful for any of your friends, please share this video and we'll just jump right in, okay? So my number 1 top tip for eating healthy at a restaurant is to avoid the starch that comes at the beginning of the meal. So personally for me, I'm gluten-free, so a lot of times the beginning of the meal we get rolls, and that's not something I can eat anyway. But if you aren't gluten-free, that is one thing. A lot of times they bring either dinner rolls, or they'll bring some kind of chips, or they'll bring some popcorn. If you want to avoid those, you can either, if other people at your table are eating them, obviously you can't send it away, but you can just say no thank you. But you can, with your waitress, if nobody's going to eat them, just ask them to take it away right away, or even ask before they come, could we skip the pre-meal starch? Then you won't tempt yourself, okay? My second tip is you always want to order vegetables or a salad, or you could even order fruit as your side. And that is going to be a healthier choice option than if you were to order some of the counterparts that you could. So, a lot of times French fries is an option, or onion rings, things like that. But places almost always nowadays will have a side salad as an option, or a fruit cup, or apple slices, or apple sauce, or broccoli, or mixed seasonal vegetables. All of those choices are going to be a better choice in terms of nutritional value. They're going to have more bang for your buck in the calories that you receive from them. So not only is it going to save you if you're on, some kind of a healthy meal plan, it is also going to give you more nutrition for the amount of food that you're eating. So that's a really, really good one. The third thing that I always try to do is to order my meats either grilled, broiled, or my vegetables steamed. So this third one has to do with how your food is cooked, all right? Almost every restaurant is going to be able to grill your food, or broil your food, or steam your food. Vegetables, your vegetables could also be baked. All those things, those are much better choices than picking fried, okay? So if you wanted to have vegetables, obviously, taking your vegetables and having them steamed is going to be a much better option than if it was breaded and if it was fried, something like that. So you get the general idea. And also, my number 4 tip is you always want to ask for any sauces or dressings on the side whenever possible. So say you ordered a salad and, it's going to come as a salad. It gets kind of slimy and mushy anyway if you get the dressing on it. I tend to like it on the side so that I can either dip my stuff in it, or a lot of times they'll bring you 2 containers, and usually you really only need 1. So always ask for those on the side, but there's other times when you receive sauces that you could get them on the side. And you also want to try to avoid any sauces that have a lot of cream in them already, because those are really going to add to, the amount of calories in them, and probably the amount of fat as well. And then my 5th one is to figure out a way to use some kind of portion control when you get to the restaurant and get your food. All right. So I know for me personally, I tend to use the rule of my hand, right? So for portion control for proteins, I try to use the size of my palm as kind of a reminder that that's how big a serving of protein should be. So when my food comes, if it's bigger than that, I try to estimate about how big that is, and I cut off that much, and I try to only eat that much. For a vegetable, your serving can actually be the whole size of your hand. All right, so you can eat a lot more vegetable in terms of serving size than you can for the protein. And the other thing too is if you do get something that's a mixed food, whether it be something like lasagna or like a more starchy based food, you really want to take probably about half of the portion that they give you. And what you can do is you can ask for a to-go container when they deliver your food. You know, if it's one of those foods, you can say, could I please have a to-go container? And then immediately when they bring it, take half of your food and put it right away into that to-go container and aside, so that then you have a normal size portion in front of you, because most restaurants will serve us portions that are much bigger than we really need or than we may even want. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. Those are my top 5 tips to trying to eat out in a more healthy way. And I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please share it with your friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great night.